Thanks for coming in. Today's live for Bullying for Prevention Month is with longtime advocate and dear friend Myriam Laroche. As soon as she joins, I will add her and we'll be talking to her about bullying and the fashion industry because she works in the fashion industry. Do I look foggy? I feel like this is foggy. It's either that or my brain, one of them. But I feel like this is foggy. I look foggy. I don't even know. Unless it's my phone. I have no clue. Yeah, right? It's foggy. Maybe it's my lights that I just looked into and now I'm blind. Oh. I had to cancel the mentoring Monday, on Monday, guys, but I will be continuing them, I believe, next week. Oh, there's Myriam. Let me get her. It's gotta be my lights. It's driving me crazy. Why can't I grab her? Okay. I guess the app updated and now it does it differently. Weird. They're always changing things. Hi.
Hi, you look great.
Yeah.
Don't worry about the light.
Don't lie. I love you, but don't lie.
No, I'm not lying. You look great. I see you.
Do you? Yeah, I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like I'm in a fog, but that's how I feel like I'm in anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah, those are foggy times. I agree.
I'm telling you, it's crazy. Hey, how are you since we talked last time?
I'm good. I'm good. Still the same, going with the flow of uncertainty and discomfort, which is part of life.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good. Having a lot of conversation on our topic tonight, which is super important right now.
Yeah. No,
So
and I think it kind of takes people's minds to a different area for a little while, which is good. It's almost like let's forget about politics and COVID for 5 minutes. you know, Longer than 5 minutes, but let's forget about just put that to the side for a minute and have other discussions about other things that are, and also important that seem to be getting drowned out, and I keep feeling like I say that a lot, but I feel that that's what's happening a lot with a lot of conversations.
mhm.
I just don't feel like we're having them enough. I mean, we never have them enough, but we're especially not having them now. So,
Yeah, but I think for the first time in a while, I feel people are listening more. On my side, maybe around me,
yeah.
but I never had that many conversation myself on not just bullying itself, but intimidation and injustice and equality. But everything you do, it's all related to Black Lives Matters and BIPOC and women and gender and everything. So
No, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think uh, on your end, things are probably maybe better, and I feel are better than they are here because I feel like there's a lot of talking here and not a lot of listening. But that's just my opinion. I don't know. Everybody can chime in and tell me your thoughts, but I feel that here in America, there's just a lot of this and the ears aren't even being used. It's just talking, talking, talking. Who can I go at? Who can I cancel? Who can I bully? Who can I throw shade at? Who can I disrespect? Who can I tell is wrong? I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. Everything. I just feel that it's. I mean, like I said, we've had this conversation before. Like when I go on Twitter, it's like a dumpster fire. And I know we're not the only place in the world that's where it is. Somebody just said that they're like that in Britain too, and I have a friend that's in the UK, and she said it's crazy over there. But so maybe in Canada things are going better. I mean, I have lots of people like spread out on
mhm.
that area, and they say it's not that bad.
Well, we're less people first. We are less crowded. definitely, and well, I think you guys need this, unfortunately, this mandatory chaos to see clearly. And I say often, unfortunately, everybody needs a Trump to never have a Trump again.
Yeah.
He's part of making change because he might be elected again. Don't it's a real possibility for people who don't believe it. The first time I said, of course he's going to be elected. It's just everything, the world is not going well, so let's make it worse. And it's a possibility. If that happens, the wake up will be 100 times more than the last time, because people are still in denial. From my point of view, maybe I'm wrong, but I think people are still in denial,
Oh,
and
I think
it's necessary to change.
I definitely agree that people are still in denial. I definitely agree with that. We don't disagree there at all. And
Mm.
we do. I mean, I say it with everything, even like with mental health and addiction, with everything. I mean, they always say like you have to hit rock bottom sometimes before like you realize like your awakening or your aha moments or whatever
Mm-hmm.
people call them. Whatever works for you. It's like we all have to get to that point where it's like, okay, like I hit several walls during this pandemic, and I hit them, and
Yeah.
you know that I've hit them. We talked about it, and where I was like, okay, I have to do something because like I can't like keep going like this unless like I want to be in a box. So you know,
Mm-hmm.
it's just I think that we do kind of have to just get to that point, and I think everybody in some form during this pandemic and all the chaos has hit that point where they just were like, I can't take it anymore, whatever it was, whether it was on a different scale. Obviously, we're all on different scales of what we have going on, our ups and downs, our ebbs and flows. But I definitely think that we've all kind of hit walls during this. And then there's also been good things during it. And I'm not going to deny those. I'm grateful for the amazing good things that have happened during it. So I don't want to discount that, because I think that's what we kind of have to hold on to not, lose
Mm.
our sanity. But, you know, um,
But you're not alone. It's collective. It's really, everybody is like, oh my god, what's happening? And we have time to think more because we're so 100, like 100 kilometers an hour, well, 100 miles an hour in the states, and it's go go go, and we don't take breaks anymore. When we take breaks, well, it's sometimes not to recharge necessarily, it's just to take a break from life. And right now we have no choice, so it's hard. We're not alone. When I talk with people, everybody's like, I don't understand how I feel. It's like we're like there's no emotion.
yeah,
Everybody feels numb.
yeah,
It's like we don't know how to feel. It's like, what's going on, and how am I alone? And it's important because just to have those conversations, to feel not alone in this, something that we don't say. I always have that face when I have live Instagram. It's like, hey, 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 and but I have my moments, and I'm like, I we are afraid to share because we don't want to worry the people that we love, and we um, we don't want people to see us like that and vulnerable. But vulnerability is one of the theme of the 21st century, with authenticity and transparency, something we haven't seen in, I don't know, I don't think we've seen it in history, which is why this is important, what's happening right now. And this is why I believe that people are listening more, because, whoa, and things are coming out. It's, you can't hide. Like when I say the century of transparency, you can't bullshit. If you're hiding something, a 2 years old can have a phone and film you. Okay, ciao, bye, done. You're done. So,
exactly.
but the past century, the 20th century, that's how business were made and government was made, by hiding things, because we could not discover it as the people of these country. So this is an adjustment that's yeah, very interesting to see
Yeah,
right now.
it definitely is. And I totally, again, we're on 100% on the same page because I totally agree and see what you're saying. It's like, you know, there's the good things, but then there's also those people just trying to really like just go after people and hurt people and just, that's the part that I don't like to see because I mean, look, I mean, I've, um, you kind of like think we're all like in a daze. Like I know there's sometimes I feel like, okay, I'm gonna lose my mind, or like people feel like that. A friend of mine was like, I feel like I'm gonna have a nervous breakdown. She's like, I almost feel like I'm out of it half the day. Like I'm in and out of like a dream or a fog, and I'm like,
Yeah.
tell me about it. I said, I kind of feel like that too. Like you're sitting there and all of a sudden you feel like you just like, where did you go? And it's like, she's like, I feel like I like left my body and I'm,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I think all of us are at this point where we're just like, oh, we're going to go insane because like, it's just that fear, but it's not going to really happen. But it's just that fear of like, mental health wise, there could be plenty of people that, sadly and unfortunately get to that point of almost like, nobody wants to have a nervous breakdown from all this, mental health wise, we have to make sure, we're talking to people, which I've always been bad at it. Like I babble and I've like the past like week, people say, how are you? And I'm like, trying to just say I'm
We
fine.
don't know what to answer.
Well, I mean, like, I don't like to lie.
Mm,
I lied
yeah.
years about, I always was like, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm fine. It's like now that like I've learned to on my healing journey be fully present, be fully authentic, and say your story, say your truth, and then speak it more. I don't want to lie. Like if people are asking me, how are you? I'm like, well, I'm tired of saying I'm good when I'm not.
Mm.
Then I also babble. And then I'm like, they got probably so much stuff on their plate. They're busy and I'm babbling about my shit. And it's just like, well, people care about you. I don't think that they see you as babbling about your shit. She's like, and I'm like, no, I'm just saying, like, I've always felt like a burden. I always felt like, I don't like to bother people with my stuff. I'll deal with my stuff, which I don't do well. And I've always been this person like this. Like when people like we used to massage my shoulders or I used to get a massage or anything like that, they used to be like, what the hell's wrong with you? Because I'm so tense.
Mm.
I'm so tense in my shoulders that like they would go like this and be like you need to relax. And I was like, yeah, I'm kind of always like that. I've been like that since I was a kid. I've always been anxious and like very easily stressed, and hence the anxiety disorder. But you know, um, I've always been like that, and I'm very easily stressed. I'm like empathic, and I read people's energies. I absorb the energies and stuff like that. So for me, I'm very fragile, and I just take it all in and just fall apart,
Yeah.
including my own crap. So I think that's some of my issue. But I've told them, like I said, lately I felt like with the stuff I have stuff going on, but like lately I felt completely like in La La Land, just like poop, like the fog that's on my screen.
Yeah. And it's about letting go and just go with the flow, which is hard. We hold on to things, and right now there nothing is in our control. We can't control anything that's going on right now. Zero. Like it's a first in our history that we know of, and so that's what we have to hold on to. And we, like you say, we feel the energy all around us, so we carry that as well. Sometimes I have a good day and suddenly I'm like, oh my god, anxiety, where it's coming from? But I realize I'm in a coffee shop with tons of people. It's not even, probably not even mine, but
Yeah,
we just felt something, especially now with all the masks, and this is weird, in a way. So a lot of people are afraid, some are not, but yeah, you're not alone. Okay, and don't be afraid to say you're not doing good, and reach out.
I haven't been, but I'm pretty good at hiding. I'm like, yeah, I'm great.
I know. Stop
You,
it.
you know me. You know me
Enough.
enough to know that I'm like, I'm great.
Enough.
I'm
Very great.
I'm joking. I'm laughing. I'm doing goofy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then off of social media, I'm like, my hair is like this, and I'm like, and I'm like a giant mess, and my friends like, okay, so like, and everyone's like, okay, so how are you really? And like, talk to me and tell me the truth rather than I'm okay, I'm fine, and I'm just like, I'm okay, I'm fine, and I'm not. But and I want people to know that sometimes, like when I do certain posts or I say certain things, because I want people to understand that like just because people do certain type of work or they have a certain type of success or whoever they may be, that it doesn't mean that they're not human. It doesn't mean that they don't struggle. It doesn't mean that they don't have the same things you do, go through the same things that we all, a lot of us, you'd be amazed of how many things people have in common with each other, or like, oh, hey, me too, or me too, or wow, I feel like that, or, and that's kind of how I've always been the type of person, especially with BKO, where I like to reach people on a very raw and real personal level. I don't like anything scripted, old green screens and fancy. Like, it's not about that. It's about like reaching people, action, like teaching, educating, and really getting down to it, and not just all about all these like glamour crap things. Like, I'm not about that. I don't care about any of that. I want to like do the real work, the dirty work, like to really actually hopefully makes a difference with people. So I'm not all into like the glamour aspect of it with organizations. I mean, and I'm not in any way saying that there's anything wrong with any of them that do that. I'm just saying when I made BKO, I did it being unique and out of the box,
Mm.
and I wanted to be different. And I kind of maybe built that around me because I'm like,
Yes.
maybe I kind of built that around my dumpster fire.
No, don't say that. It's important that your flavor is in it, because it's there's so many ways of doing things, and I always say there's 7.8 billion books of life. We all have ours, and we want everybody to read ours, and but we have to learn to read others, and that's what you bring to the table. You open your book to us, and we can read it and see see things in a different way, which we need right now, and to be extremely open without judgment. It's very important. Something, and I say all the time, I feel sometimes I was born in a judgment potion, something, because the amount of thoughts that are judgmental in my head are unbelievable. For the past 5 years, I have a wellness coach in emotional intelligence, and I'm aware when something pops, it doesn't even belong to me. It belongs to culture. It's cultural, it's family, it's transgenerational. And by the way, this is maybe another topic. I'm reading a book right now about how our previous generation, we carry their trauma as well. So something you might be stuck in right now for a while might not even be yours. And just anyway, we'll talk about it another time, but I'll forward you the book, and I'm pretty
Yeah,
sure you're going to enjoy it. It's very simple, and we have to be open to other things and read. And even if someone seems a bit crazy, that person believes that, just go read about what they are thinking and just be open mind, like, okay, someone's thinking this, and let's see. No judgment, no anger, no blame, no shame, which is, that's what we're going to talk tonight, the almost the base of fashion industry. Shame and judgment, judgment on everything. And so it's a new era, it's a new century, and we haven't learned how to live in it. We stuck in the 20th century, where we had no technology, no access to information. We were not able to connect. If you felt different back then, you could not go online and Google, I feel like this.
right.
You were probably the only one in your village, and not able to go to a restaurant because you were on a farm and feeling alone. So right now we have access to all this information, and the positive thing to that, we have to take it to not feel alone, and to see that there's a lot of people like us, and it's okay to feel different, because we're all of us. We have common points, that connect us, but we have to accept our uniqueness, and then connect with others without judgment, anger, blame, and shame.
Absolutely, and like I'm always open. I love to read all about that stuff and watch documentaries, and I'm very big on continuing education. Like, I have,
Mm.
I'm always like learning. I take energy courses, I take healing courses, I take all types of stuff online, and I'm actually in the middle of one about how learning how to like communicate, like right talk, I think they call it, and it's all about how we communicate with others, but also with ourselves, and like things that we say,
Yes.
realize what we're saying that's impacting and influencing our minds and our like energies, our souls, and everything. But I also took a class on people's cords being attached to you that aren't even yours, and
Yeah.
how to release those and balance your chakras. If people might not be into that, but I mean, when I was younger, I thought it was all I'm a New Yorker who was around Italian, so like I used to look at that stuff and be like, I'm not doing any of that stuff. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like meditation and yoga, I used to laugh. And then when I took a yoga class by, someone I know, a friend of mine, Jen Pasteloff, she's very well known in, that arena. And she's in LA, I believe, California. But she would come here a lot. And I took a 3-hour yoga workshop. And when I left there, I was like, holy crap. I was like, first of all, it's 100 degrees in here and I don't like being hot. And then, like, all this, hold each other's feet, do this. She's like a funny teacher. She's very different. She's out of the box, too, which is what I love about her because we're all, she always says she's like weird and crazy. And I'm like, well, I am too. So we'd be perfect friends. But like sometimes like you love when you meet people that are kind of all over the place, or they goof around and say, yeah, well, I'm a hot mess, but like I'm proud of my hot mess or whatever it is. But you know, I um I like to connect with people like that I feel are very genuine and authentic. And I just feel like those are like the real long time, deep connection friendships that you have for a long time. Like, like when I met you, I was like, oh, she's awesome. I love her. Like, and, it's just, you can just read people and when someone's a good person, when someone's just like a beautiful light and like, you can just feel it. And you're just like, you want to connect with that person. You want to know that person. You want to work with whatever you want to do with that person. I'm just saying like, you know, um, I pay attention to that of who I allow into my life, and even when I do this, my activism and stuff like this, like I very carefully, choose. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying, but as far as judgment, which we'll talk about, we're going to start talking about like your fashion industry area because that's a big topic, but I don't, I'm starting to wonder, is it impossible? And I believe I saw this somewhere, and I'm trying to think of where I saw it now. That, I mean, I think it's almost impossible to never judge because, in some form, by human nature, we might look at something and just say something, and not, it's a judgment. In some form, it's a judgment. Like in some form, like if you say like, "Oh my gosh, look at that person's pants," and you're just goofing around and making an innocent joke, and it's like because they're like the pants are, I don't know, maybe they have, I don't know, SpongeBob on them, and you
Yeah.
think they're like, it's still a judgment. It's a goofy one. It's not like an insult, but it's but you get what I'm saying. Like no matter how small or innocent or little it
Well,
is,
yeah.
it's a judgment.
Well, I think when I'm talking without judgment, it's without judgment that comes from a negative place, like
Right.
anger and things like that. And it's about being aware when it comes from a negative place and you're thinking and you're like, hey, just no, I'm not in for that anymore. But it's being aware that if it comes from a place of love and you realize that, and you send it with love and you don't use it to create negativity with it, it's different. And but yes, judgment is always there. It's where it comes from, it's what fuels it, and
But
that's what we need to be aware.
that's such an important point to make that I don't think people realize that we actually need to talk about more, and we'll do that on another live. But I think just in general as a world need to talk about that more because I don't think people realize that there's good and bad judgment. Like there's
Yeah.
negative, positive. It's all how you're looking and doing the judging. It's like if you're, like you said, if somebody says to you, like if I say to you, like, hey, how's my hairdo? And you, like, I want you to tell me the truth. Like if it's like whack, I want you to tell me it looks whack. I don't want you to lie to me. And I just this was in like one of the courses that I'm in, an 8-lesson course that I was recently taking. And it said about how we always like we lie and we don't even realize like when somebody says, how are you? And we're like, I'm good, and like you're not good. Or somebody says to you, how does this look? And you don't want to hurt their feelings, so you tell them it looks fabulous. How would the world be if we just actually started telling the truth, but like in a place and come from love, not like, oh, that looks horrible, man. Like when my friends used to ask me something, I used to be like, you know what, I like that better on you with what you're wearing. Put that top with this bottom. I mean, like we did it in a loving way. We didn't insult each other and make everybody, each other feel horrible. Or I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't. People do, but there's a loving place to come from, because it's like I said, it's impossible to not judge in some form, but there's a loving and good place, and then there's a bad place. So
It's
I
always
love,
where it comes from. It's
yeah,
always where it comes from, and that's what we need to be aware of. And it's our job. It's not anybody else to tell us, in a way. And we have something. Every human being have something free. It's the gut feeling. It's free, and it's always right. It never lies. You know when you make a judgment that comes from a bad place. You know when you make a judgment that comes from a good place. So the gut feeling, it's always there. Of course, it's often really shadowed by the ego. But when you learn to really listen to it, and it takes practice, like yoga and like working out, like everything. But when you learn to listen to it, and it's not the ego who's taking over, um, it's it's an amazing tool, and it's free, guys.
yeah,
It's free.
you know,
You can always do it, and we know when we're bad, and we know when we're good, and
really.
and bad and good has many layers. It's really a gray zone. So it's really about being aware of emotion.
Yeah, I think it's all about intention.
Yes.
What intention and motive, and I can
Hmm.
read people very well. I've always been able. Like, people used to be like, you should work for the FBI. You're good at body reading, like signals, and
Do
you read
it.
people well. They used to tell me to be all these things. And all my friends used to be like, you should be this, you should be that, you should be a bodyguard and a security guard, you should be that. I'm just like, should you stop like giving me careers? But I have many different skills in different arenas of working, but it's just, you know, everything, a lot of stuff that I obtained hands on, which is funny because I always think that's the best way to learn, not just sticking your nose just in books or just listening to somebody
Hmm.
talk about it where you're like, like, when you used to sit in class and listen to the teacher and used to want to like jump out the window because like they were making you fall asleep. I can't stand lectures. For me, like, if somebody's lecturing and talking for like hours upon hours, like, I'm just gonna like tune out at some point. I'm more of a person that wants to do things on my own and like give me stuff to do, like action, move. Like, I can't just sit there and just listen to someone drone on or listen to a recording for like 2 hours. I just can't. I'm just, I don't know. I guess as I've gotten older, my patience for that is like right out the window. But yeah, I mean, I think that intention and motive, which unfortunately is not always good for some people, and that's where, bullying and, those issues come in. But, you know, um, it's just something else Jen always says, is if we could ever say that we did anything in the legacy we leave, is to say that we did love. And I think that that's one of the most important things to keep in mind, is to just always make sure you try to come from a place of love and kindness with everything that you do.
Hmm.
And as long as you're doing that, like, well, look, we're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're not perfect. I mean,
Yes.
when we first spoke, you admitted to, oh my gosh, did I maybe come across judgmental, or even, I remember years ago when we had to talk about the fashion, you said that, oh, I don't ever want to come across as a bully. But in that type of industry, it's a certain type of attitude and mentality and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and it can sometimes, like, people get lost in it.
Yeah, well, that's all I want to talk about, because it's a very fashion is very harsh, uh, but sometimes, because it's so harsh, when you have the opportunity to bully yourself to get ahead, you do it, unfortunately. And again, it comes back to being aware when you do it, and that's how we're gonna change things. And it's I having those conversations, and it's with bullies having those conversations, and I'm including myself in it. And I've been bullied when I was young. Like, I don't call it bullied, I called it rejected. Like, I had no friends, nobody wanted to play with me, or but if they wanted to play with me, it was to get something in return. And it was really tough coming home crying at home, and my friends don't love me, blah blah blah. But it was not physical, really. It was, but it was. I called it rejection. Being put aside because I was different. I was very expressive and things like that. But then I continued. I had a very supportive family. Who were like, "Hey, you're great. and everything will be fine. And everything ended up being fine. And I went into fashion. And then, wow, those years of, and it's in the 90s. And remember, it's not this century, it's the previous century, where not just in fashion, uh, bosses, the big boss, we are afraid of them. And it's kind of normal to be afraid of the boss. The higher you are in the hierarchy, the more terrified your team is of you. In a way, not everywhere, but it's kind of a behavior that is anchored, in the in any type of businesses, and especially fashion, because I remember I come from Quebec City, which 3 hours from Montreal. Montreal is the fashion city, and I'm from Quebec, like more in region, and I did not have the look, and I got some comments, and I was like, um, taking it and like, oh, I'm going to change my look, just to fit in. And it worked. It never affected me in a way. I never really took it personally, but I was recording all of this, and it happened a couple of times when a new person was coming years later that had a different look. I was judging that person, but in a way I was judging myself.
Yeah.
Back then I still had that, that I was carrying those times that people laughed at me. So it was my time to laugh at other people for their look and being more snobbish. It's really snub. And I think something I promised myself when I created Eco Fashion Week back in Vancouver was that I want it to be an inclusive event. I don't want anybody to be snubbed. I want people to have fun, and it is how it happened. But it's something I would love for us to talk tonight is the boys club. That fashion, and I don't have the statistic, but I think it's 70% women who works in the fashion industry, all area, and the leaders, the big bosses, are men. So it's like that everywhere, in a lot of places. But to have that many female employees and you have males, so. And I was having that discussion with a friend of mine who worked for L'Oreal for a very long time, and we talked about that boys club.
Yeah.
And she was saying that even some women who was reaching those level were becoming part of the boys club and being intimidating to others. And suddenly I'm like, oh my god, I did that too. I did that too. And that's why I'm saying, bullies, we have to acknowledge it. That's the only way we're gonna reverse. If we take responsibility. And it was not, oh, I'm planning to be a bully later in my life. It's not that, So, but it happened naturally, and it was accepted, and it was kind of normal. And I wanted to have higher positions, so I was not cool with my gender. Not only how tricky, and we see that a lot, and that's what we need to talk about. And I want to take responsibility for that, and I want to talk about it, because you can change, and the minute you take responsibility and you start having those conversations, that's when the healing starts.
Right.
And that's when we can reach the next level of kindness and understanding. And I don't want to like judge and blame anybody who are in those situations. The system has been like that forever. It's cultural, it's systemic.
It definitely is. It definitely is. And you always hear about those boys clubs, and like I think everybody to some extent gets up and playing the game, and they know how to play the game. And I mean, even in the people say in Hollywood, in the entertainment world, and fashion is not really far off from that. It's a form of it. It's an extension of it. That people have to know, like, you have to really be tough skinned to be in that world, and you do. I mean, I've always had tough skin, but I know people that were gonna venture into it, and they didn't, and they were like, I can't do this because I can't see. I was like, I could. I just was talked out of it by people that tore me down, thinking that I couldn't do it when I was actually very good at what things that I did. But it's like when you're told something so many times, you believe it. So when I was younger, I did. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just throw this dream out the window, that dream out the window, this dream out the window, that dream. And they just started like at the end, I was like, what do I really have left that I like? I love doing several things and was talented at quite a few things. And I lost interest and passion for every single one of those things and almost forgot how to do them. And I've always been an artist. And, my brother is, and, so we were, my younger brother, we have that in common, and some of the other people in our family weren't at all. But me and my brother, I probably have to say, were probably the most artistic in the family. And like, he works in graphic arts. He works for Asana. It's a very, very popular company. He lives in San Francisco. I know plenty of people have probably heard of him maybe in the graphic arts and tech world and stuff like that. But I mean, he's very good at what he does. And for his age, he's not even 30. He does very well. But, there is that, look, it's like when I was always afraid I would get judged for the whole meditation and yoga thing. And then I fell in love with it and
Mhm.
realized what it did for me. And it was working wonders for my anger and my stress. And then, but there
Yeah.
were times where, and even like now, I get to such a high peak of stress and anxiety that the meditation is not even working.
Yeah.
And nothing is it's like, this is not working, that's not, why is none of this stuff that I used before working? I realize that I think I'm kind of blocking it on my own and like being resistant, and I'm letting like the anxiety and the depression and the stress take over, and I'm letting the pandemic stuff I'm just letting things take over, not talking to enough people, then or feeling bad because I told somebody like that I wasn't doing, and they're like, why do you feel bad if they said how are you? And I'm like, because you know me, and I feel bad for like babbling and talking about myself, and I have to get out of that mentality, because I feel like if somebody asks me, I'm hoping they're asking because they care, and they're not just going, that typical, hey, how are you? And just expect everybody to go fine, and then they don't give them a real answer. We need to get out of that mentality. When we say, how are you, or are you okay? Those questions need to be answered for real, not half assed, you know?
Yeah, but I think it comes back to, if it comes from a place of love and calmness, you can say, hey, you know what? It's not the best right now, and sometimes I think we are afraid to say the things the way they are because we are afraid of drama. But if it's not said in a dramatic way, not doing well, it's not drama necessarily,
I think
it's just, hey,
it's drama. What are they?
huh.
I think it's just like, I think when it's like newer friendships, or friendships that are building, and they're like building a beauty. I think it's more sometimes judgment, acceptance. Are they gonna think I'm weird? Am I babbling too much? Are they gonna be like, oh my gosh, this person's a dumpster fire, hot mess at times? You just, and like that comes from my past of being treated the way that I was when I had anxiety attacks and panic attacks, and I was depressed, and it was even mild depression, but it's still depression nonetheless, and it's still important. Like, I
Mhm.
was times where I didn't even want to be there. Didn't want to exist anymore. Then there was always the fear of death when you have anxiety. So it's like, you just went back and forth, and mentally as a young kid and even teenager, that messes with you completely. So it kind of carries with you into adulthood. Even though I went on a journey of getting better and healing, and I've been to therapists and all types of stuff, it doesn't really ever go away, and it does creep up. And especially if something sets you off, or something reminds you, or something triggered, it's like a real trigger. I don't like when people abuse that word trigger, and I know it's abused a little bit, but um just like mental health is in some ways. But I just, I don't know, I've always been that type of person that, I mean, I'm going to help and save the world, and I'm going to put myself on the back burner to be on fire.
Well,
But
you're bullying yourself. I think
I,
we are our worst bullies. We're the worst.
yeah,
Huh? What?
it's funny you say that, because I just like typed up something about self-bullying.
Yeah, we're the worst. The worst bully that we have is ourselves. Like all the time, we bully ourselves. Uh, hey, I feel some recharging is necessary right now for you, and maybe it's to just unplug. No media, no nothing for a couple of days.
It
Oh,
happens is, if I get somebody that messages me that needs mentoring or help, and I don't see it, they think,
well, No, no, that's self-bullying right now. That's excuses of not taking care. If you're not feeling well, you can't mentor well. You
Right.
cannot give what you don't have. And
True.
right now, you're being a mentor to people. And if you want to be a good mentor, seriously, you have to be good to you.
Right.
So the world
I,
won't stop turning if you unplug for 2 weeks. Seriously,
right.
you unplug seriously because this is toxic, all these social media and stuff like that.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a lot of good, but it's really toxic. And right now, I think it's a big part of why we're struggling right now, because it we become zombies, you know. I don't even notice myself sometimes. I'm on Instagram watching like cats and dogs, and I'm like, it's been an hour. And then, I have that message. You've been on Instagram for 30 minutes already. Oh,
Well,
it's
it's kind
9 a.m.
of animals. I love animals. I'll sit there for like 2 hours looking at funny dog videos because then it makes me feel good. But then it makes me miss Bella, and then I get depressed. So I'm like, maybe this is not good. But uh,
Yeah, but it's physically as well. It's not good for our eyes. It's not good
I'll go from
for.
television, and I'm like, I feel like I'm blind.
Yeah. So, well, that's by experience. When I reach that point, it's extremely important. I think 72 hours is the minimum if you really, 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 really want result, because it's going to take you 36 hours to feel better. It's going to
Yeah.
be uncomfortable at the beginning. Suggest you books and writing a lot,
Oh
lots
yeah.
of tea, lots of walks, and if you can be in nature as much as you can. But right now, from what I hear, you cannot give what you don't have, and right now you do not have energy. You're tired, and so it's for you. That break is gonna be times 100 better for everybody around you.
Yeah.
Remember that.
I actually have had to cancel some things, and then um recently that we're supposed to that I was supposed to do, and then I was like, you know what, I gotta like take care of me. I gotta do that stuff. So let me do that. And I have, believe it or not, I mean, I have lessened my time on social media massively, and I've taken breaks. One time I took a break for like a week. Another time I took a break for a few days. One time I deactivated my Twitter account. Another time I deactivated Instagram. I have here and there just got to a point where I was just like you said, like we have to unplug at some point. Like we can't, or I would just be like, I'm gonna post like a funny joke and go right off. And that's what I would do. I'd just like, oh, here, I'm gonna post this. It's funny. I saw this. I'm posting it, and then I'd go off, and I wouldn't look at it the rest of the day. And my friend of mine, she's also an advocate here. She says that she's been deleting it. Like she'll go on it for a certain amount of time, and then she'll actually delete the app, and then like won't go on it again until like the next day. So, it's just because
It's
every
not enough. It's not enough. 24 hours. It's more than that. And you turn off internet. That's it. And you tell the people you love that, hey, I'm going to be offline. The way to reach me, it's on my roommate's phone or whatever, but it's off. There's no internet, zero. It's necessary because for our well-being to
oh yeah,
really unplug. And it's like a breath of fresh air when you log again. It's clear. The fog is you manage the fog and you get out of it, and
yeah,
it's really empowering
yeah.
for sure.
I know that the couple of times that the few times that I've unplugged, I was like, I felt much better because like I wasn't looking at all the stuff that was like getting me down or pissing or like, making me angry, or like seeing things that people were saying and how they were treating each other, and that really disheartens me. And I feel that like when people are being hateful and mean, and I'm like, I feel that intensity, and it's like whoosh, it's like it just kind of rolls over you, and then I mean that's not good for anybody. And I've said this a million times. I said like social media has become like literally like a dumpster fire mess because it's like it's so toxic and hateful and just it's just crazy, and it's just and nobody's like I said, I feel like nobody's listening. I feel like everybody's just going after each other's throats. And I know we're hopping back and forth from topics, but they're all important topics because they're all relevant. especially now. And I think that's part of the awakening, is to realize that life is precious, and like we can't waste moments, and the moments that we get, we don't get back. And I've always said that, and I always try to practice what I preach, but I also admit that I'm human and that I fall back sometimes, and I
Mhm.
sometimes like, okay, I need to do this and I'm not doing it, and then I slow down and I do it, and then like I feel, I'm good, and then it's just a lot of ebbs and flows. So it's like I totally agree with you, and I totally think it's necessary for everybody to do. And I know people that have set like deleted completely, like I deleted, they're like, I deleted Facebook, or I went off for like 2 weeks, and I'm like, that's great, and you should.
Mhm.
The same advice that I would give. It's just,
Mm.
they always say like it's harder for us to take our own advice. um
Yeah, yeah.
but it's a very true statement. But you know I know, going back to, flip flopping back to the um, fashion industry, do you feel that it's gotten better at all, or do you feel that it's gotten worse?
Well, so I think it got better, from yeah, sorry, I have
Hey, Kitty. I have no problem.
Sergio.
I have no
Sergio.
problem. Oh, I love that name. I have no problems with animals.
Sergio. Um,
Those tail.
I would say that I it was better. Well, when I started Eco Fashion Week, of course, at the beginning, nobody really cared that much. Not nobody, but it was a small amount of people like me. Then it got better, but I would say that COVID is a very important time for people to listen. And I think the reason I felt like we had that huge wave of denunciation here in Quebec, like a lot, and women were part of the people of that wave, and very important because I could see myself. I had some behavior that was intimidating sometimes. And I think as women, we allow ourselves sometimes to talk to guys in a certain way that if they would talk to us like that, it would not be accepted. But we do it because we're girls, and it was a big conversation. So I think right now, which is very important for everybody who works in any industry and fashion industry, it's zero tolerance for hate and judgment with hate. You can have an opinion, but if there's hate in it and name calling, right away it's zero tolerance. If there's violence, zero tolerance. And I that's how I am right now. And I and we talked about different words that we cannot use anymore, and we had expression here with with words about people of color. And now when I hear that, I'm like, hey, you know what? Illegal now. You cannot say it anymore. And they're like, well, I don't mean no harm, but no, zero tolerance. Well, but you know what? There are so many words. I believe in you. I'm sure you're gonna be creative to replace it. And they're like, okay. And I think it's about attitude. It's about how we react to that cancellation culture and all of this. And if we react with anger at the same level, and I'm not saying that I'm never angry. It's not true. I go there sometimes, but I try not to. If there's something that rubs me, uh, not in a good way, I'm kind of okay. Because bullying, the people who are bullying, they are suffering. You
Yeah.
bully because you suffer.
Yep.
You bully because you're afraid. We were talking about the boys' club. I was maybe rude to some other girls because I was afraid they were coming. Because you know what, they were great, and at first I was threatened by that. Instead of, hey, empower, collective success. We feel that if we support someone, we're gonna have less success, but it's the opposite. When we support each other, we multiply it. And that's a belief that we don't have, because back in the days, it's my success, it's my things, and I don't share. Rah, 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 rah. And it's not like that. So we have to reprogram a lot of things. And now when I see bullies and like hate and things like that, I always go to that place. Okay, those people are suffering 100 times more than me. For sure, to be like that, to be mean like that, you're not good inside you. It's impossible that you know peace in a way, because when you go there. So I always say, okay, those people, so I don't want to reach their level when I have a discussion. If I have a discussion, sometimes I need to, because to have a discussion with people who are hateful and really mean, you have to be in a really calm and centered place and be kind, extremely kind.
Trust me, it
And the place of love has to be like lit.
does.
You have to fuel on it very
I've
much.
I've gotten myself like I always like I've worked with lots of bullies and people that just attacked for no reason, but I was just like woosah, and I centered my
Hmm.
was like I know that I know what it's like to be going through things, so I'm not gonna, it's not saying that you can't stick up for yourself or defend yourself if someone's attacking you. That's ridiculous. I always say we stay here, stand up, speak out, because otherwise it doesn't stop if you don't. Sometimes people do have to be put in their place, but also again coming from a place of goodness and kindness and love, not going down to their level. And I always say that
You know,
we should be empowering each other and we should be supporting each other. I've always been like that. I'm everybody's biggest cheerleader. If I'm in somebody's life and I know you, I'm your biggest cheerleader. I'm your biggest fangirl, you whatever. I was like, that's how it should be. I'm not sitting there going, oh my, they're doing great, and I'm gonna be depressed because they're doing great, and I'm sick today, and look how they feel great. So like I don't, and I know people do that. And it's like a very common mentality. And it's like, but how do you have that? Like, I'm happy for people when they're happy. When I see good things happening to people I care about, I'm happy. That makes me happy. I'm not saying I don't, I'm not saying like, oh, okay, like I know I have my goals and I'm striving for my stuff and I'm just throwing that out the window and caring about everybody else and not myself. I'm just saying like it's empowering to empower each other and support each other,
yeah.
share other stuff, cheerlead each other on. I am constantly doing that for people. And it's nothing, I'm not getting anything out of it. I just do it because I want to help them or like they've done for me and give back. And if I like the message or it could be a stranger and I'll be like, oh,
Hmm.
great, I'm going to just retweet this or I'm just going to share this because I just think it's all about connection. And I think that we've lost that over the many, 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 many years due to a lot of the things that we've been talking about, judgment and jealousy and bullying and hate and cancel culture and toxic environments. I don't like to say toxic people. I like to say toxic environments or toxic behavior.
Environment, yeah, and yeah, toxic patterns,
Yeah,
because I believe that everybody has the good in themselves. It's just the way we were raised and the country we live in, the culture.
it's
Uh,
learned behavior, but
huh?
it can be unlearned. It's
Yeah.
learned behavior, but it could be unlearned. If it's learned, it could be
Oh,
unlearned.
absolutely, absolutely. So I think right now would be to be the biggest cheerleader for yourself. Mm.
I sometimes give
Eh.
myself pats on the back. I don't, look, I think we also have to just realize also too, though, we have to have like a certain level of ego and make sure it doesn't go too high. So it's like I try to just make sure that I keep it balanced. Like I'm confident in my skills and my talent or my this or my that. Like I am confident in those things. Even sometimes, no, you get down on yourself or I could have done that better. Like I used to be a really bad perfectionist, and then I was like, I knew where that stemmed from, and I found that like you always have to find the root cause of things, and I knew the root cause of things, and that's half of the battle and being aware of what the root cause, because it's like with addiction, and I saw this quote the other day, and it's like cannabis isn't a gateway drug. This isn't a gateway drug. Caffeine isn't a gateway drug. It's people that have trauma, child abuse, domestic violence, sexual assault, rape. I mean, there's people that have all these types of things, mental health. They have to. That's the root problem and cause, and then it goes into addiction, and it's like so you're not really treating the addiction. You're treating all the roots that cause the addiction.
Yes.
And people don't realize that like you're treating the roots of things of where it grows. You don't just chop a tree off at the top and just leave, like I mean, like if you need to chop a tree down or whatever it is that I'm using it as an example. I don't want anybody to chop a tree down. But I'm just saying like um like if you don't get the things at the roots, and I feel like if you don't pull those roots out and deal with them and get rid of them, like those bad roots and the weeds, like the cause of it, where it's growing from, you're gonna end up just having a dead tree.
Well, addiction is filling voids, with
Right.
self-love. At the end of the day, it's all about low self-esteem. We
Yeah.
don't love each other truly, we
We're
judge
nu-
ourselves and ah,
we're numbing things.
yeah. So it's we numbing and we filling voids, and it's about just to try some to start that healing process. And there's no one way to do it, there's multiple ways to do it. And maybe 1 year it's going to be about working on the transgenerational things, and the year after it's going to be about just do yoga and take care of, because it's about the mind, the heart, the spirit, but the body as well. You can do all this healing stuff, but if you don't take care of your body, it doesn't work either. So there's so many resources right now that we can use to feel better. And yeah, and it's all about, I think, the best thing that we can do right now in those times of uncertainty and chaos, because it is chaos, and it will be for a bit. It's to work on ourselves and not trying to fix everything around, because again, we cannot give what we don't have. you cannot
Right.
you cannot fix something if you're broken.
Right.
And that doesn't mean you stop helping and you don't talk to anybody. It's not about that. But if you truly want to see a change in the world, you do have to create the change inside you in an authentic way for you. And it's a life's work. It's the end. It's a life's work, and it's really what we need to do right now, to in any industry. We need to it doesn't matter um what happens. In a way, of course it matters who's going to be elected and blah blah blah, but it's out of our control. If you went to vote and the result is not what you wanted, that you are angry about it and that you think it's the cause of every we always have the solution of us, and give and just align ourselves and do good, even if it's a really small scale. It always multiply. And I think right now this is the only thing we can do: take care of ourselves, to be strong, to mentor people like you do.
Yeah.
And again, I'm gonna bug you for the next 3 days: turn off, turn off, turn off, turn off, turn off.
I know.
And I'm
I'm
telling
gonna
you,
get like 9,000
yes,
text messages.
yeah,
Yeah.
because you need it. And when you love and you support people because you love this, and you recognize everything and everybody, it's because you have it in you.
Yeah.
You cannot recognize kindness if you're not kind. You
Right.
cannot recognize light in someone if you don't have light yourself. So you have all that, but it is time that you apply what you apply to others to
I used
you.
yeah, I was doing well with it, and then I just hit a roadblock. But we do, and I'm
Yeah,
aware. I think one of the biggest step is not being in denial about it. And
yeah.
what you said is that mentally, if we don't take care of ourselves, physically we're not, because physically, and then we're not taking ourselves mentally, because it's all connected. So it's like one thing's not working, the other thing's not working.
Well, I feel there's people who just take care of their body, thinking it's the thing to do. They just like they're obsessed. They do 10 marathons per year, or like 20 Ironmans, and they just do it and do it and
But that doesn't always mean mentally that you're okay.
that's what I'm saying. So some people, they just take care of their body. And if they don't take care, I call it the emotional backpack. Okay. So we're all born with a backpack, emotional backpack. And when we grow up, we put stuff in it and we carry it and we carry it. We carry it. And I know what I'm talking about because I've been obsessed with body image for my entire life. And I've always been in super shape, super shape, super shape. What it was doing, it was just making me stronger to carry the backpack. But it was still full. So, of course, it helps. You're stronger. But at some point, if you break something, the backpack can be extremely heavy. And that's what we need to think. And so we need to empty the backpack, be strong, and it's a mix of all of it, but it doesn't have to happen all at the same time. We are working towards balancing it and taking care of each part in a balanced way. But we have to go through the imbalance for a while, and we need to be like that and to trip and chaos again. And so that's what's happening right now, and that's what you're feeling. That's what I'm feeling, and that's what everybody who probably logged in are feeling right now. And this is a reality
No, I
of
love that an analogy that you use of emotional backpack, because I've always been very strong, like physically and emotionally and mentally, because I always felt like I'd be like my grandmother's, like resilient, strong, like you would never see them shed a tear because they would do it probably about
yeah.
hours. I
Mm.
would, and I was just like this. That's where I was with all the time. That's who I adored and looked up to, and it was like I'm just ended up just like them. And it's like, yeah, you're stronger to deal with all the things, but that doesn't mean that once they pile, like you said, once the backpack starts overflowing, it becomes a mess. Because strength wise and physically wise, you're great there. But mentally, it's like a volcano that just erupts and just is like everywhere.
You
And
never, yeah. So continue. Sorry.
no, that's basically all I was saying. Like it's I think they work in conjunction with each other. And if you're not taking care of both, I don't care how great you look. I mean, I've known people that look. I mean, look, I was an athlete. I had a six pack, and then and mentally, everything changed for me. When physically, everything changed for me when I had to be on steroids and I gained weight, and then other medications, and I gained weight from those because I was very sick and almost died. So then as soon as my body changed, and I was like, I wasn't used to it, and I was like, what's happening to me? Mentally, everything changed for me because for me they things they work together, and I think it's very important to work on both, not just one. And I've always been a person that if I'm going to work on this, I'm going to work on everything. Like, you're not just going to work on one thing because it's unbalanced that way. Like, oh, mentally I'm fabulous, but the rest of me, I never go to the doctor, I don't take care of myself, I don't care, whatever, I don't care what I look like, I don't care that, like, you have to, like, life is balance. And without balance, when one side is teetering over, and like, it's just not enough to hold everything up. So I think that life is about balance. So physical and mental is always about balance, and everything in life is about balance. Like, the way we eat, when we cheat and we eat our healthy stuff, and then we have our cheat days, everything's about balance.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
if it's overdone, can be bad for you, whether it's good for you or not. And hey, Austin, that kid is a great kid to follow.
Yeah, I see a lot of people. I've been reading, and I saw a lot
Doing
of people. Yeah.
amazing things. My last guest, Sam, who's the host of Daily Blast Live, she introduced me with him. He's doing this movement. No worries, you can watch it when it's it'll stay up. Um, he's doing this movement. He's just doing amazing things, and it's just just amazing, amazing things. And I've had some conversation with him after the live, and I just love seeing that, because it starts with the younger generation, and the more younger we can get people, like, I wanted to be doing what he's doing at his age. I just didn't know. We didn't have those tools back in my day. I'm 41 years,
No,
so it was like we didn't know how to do any of that stuff. you
and
know,
we were raised on mind your own business and don't share too much. Don't be vulnerable. Being strong meant not being vulnerable, which is not the same. And I think the generation that were born with internet and were able to share all of this, they were not able. They're the difference between them. They don't know how to be in person with people. They don't know how to approach people and having phone conversation and stuff. But they share openly how they feel, and I admire that because it wasn't like that for me. You don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, and mind your own business. You see something off, and you're like, oh my
rub
god,
some
this is
in it, you'll be fine. Go walk it off. Do some exercise.
yeah, yeah. And also, you could see some bullying and things like that, but you were minding your own business. And now it's like, no, you don't mind your own business. You suspect something's bad, something bad is happening. you get involved now. Too
Yeah,
many Me Too stuff have happened. Black Lives Matter have happened, and things like that. So it's really, really important right now to be vulnerable and to not think that vulnerability means weakness. It's so not. And I think that's what was missing when I grew up, to be vulnerable. Are you
yeah.
still there? Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, no,
So,
I had that missing too. I didn't really know if
yeah.
I don't even think I knew how to be vulnerable until I met when I got married and a woman who came into my life that kind of took over the role of a mother figure. And
Hmm.
I was around 16 or 16, 17 around when she kind of took me under her wing. And I'll tell you what, if it wasn't for her and if it wasn't for my ex, you know, I don't know where I'd be. Like, people always say, like, a lot of conversations we've had, like, like people say, I don't know if I might be here. I don't know where I'd be. It was like those people that they showed me love. They showed me affection. They helped me show love and affection because I didn't really, um, Austin said he's going to DM you to ask you questions. He's really,
Yes, Austin.
he's really awesome. You should follow him. He's doing like, they're doing
I
an
will.
amazing movement, him and his brother. They were on the show Daily Blast Live with Sam. But
I will.
yeah,
Oh, the Miles. So Miles is the other one. I see the Miles and the Austin.
yeah, his brother wasn't on last time. I've only met Austin. But I guess that's his brother. So I mean, that's the other half
Yeah,
of brothers. Which now I have to follow Miles because I wasn't sure what his handle was. I just knew of Austin. He was the only one on when Sam was on. Um, but just amazing young men. But yeah, like I don't know. Like I didn't know. I just didn't know how to like even like when I would play sports and I would get like hit with the ball somewhere that was like massively painful, and I was just like, I'm good. I'm good.
like, yeah,
Meantime, I'm
you're
just
so strong.
broke something.
Going to the hospital, I'm fine, but all good. I
I,
know
I,
it's a different generation. What
we
did you say? Sorry.
have a very thicker skin generation too. I think I want to say the older generations, like my Italian grandparents, their skin was like the thickest skin I have ever seen, and my grandmother's lived through the depression and all types of stuff and just went through a lot of stuff in their life that I know of some of the things. And I was like, I mean, those older generations, like there was just so much things going on back then.
I
You
think
almost could not have thick skin without unless you wanted to just fall apart. You know what I'm saying?
I
Like,
was I was thinking about it. I think previous generation, including baby boomers, with so many children and things like that. And I'm not applying this to everyone, but I feel that they lacked love, you know, like individual and care. They were safe, they were nourished, they had clothes, they had a roof, but they miss love. And I feel that our Generation X that came after their children, they were so happy to have us. So they took all our love. And the reason I'm saying that, there's two ways to love. You can love someone and give love, and you can hug and take love. There's two ways. You can take someone's love and you can give your love. And I think you need a balance of both in your life. Sometimes if you're weak, you have someone you know that you can give it to and you take it. But I feel that the baby boomers, to feel that void of love when they had us, they took everything. So we know a lot, our generation, to give and to give and to give and to give, and we don't know how to receive very well. And it
yeah,
goes back again to give us self-love. We don't know how to receive well because we just learn how to give it.
yeah,
And then our children, I don't have children yet, but our children from my generation, what happened is that they we gave them so much love, sometimes too much. They become the spoiled generation, sometimes not in a mean way, I'm saying, but they got everything they wanted. So we need to find that balance and understand how loves, work, to give it and to receive it. And so it's something
yeah,
I was analyzing once, and I'm like, because I believe in energy, and right now we need to go beyond the physical body and stuff, and we need to understand waves of energy and how it affects us. And that's why I came with. I think the lack of love from the previous generation had us being not able to receive. And my generation, I realized that we give a lot and we don't know how to receive. We get gifts. Oh, no, 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 it's fine, it's fine, it's nothing. We give, or we give a gift, and someone says thank you so much. Oh, it's nothing. It's not nothing. You give a gift, so we think ourselves of nothing. We're just good to give.
I'll be like,
What?
for me, don't do anything for me. And then sometimes in the back of your mind, you're like, where's all my cheerleaders? Where's the, and it's like, but you don't do things for that reason. Like, and I mean, I know I never have. When I gave, I don't expect anything in return. That's not the way I am. I'm not, you do this for me and now I owe you and now you owe me and I don't do that with relationships. I don't believe in that. I think if you want to do something or share something or support somebody, you do it from the heart and love. But yeah, no, I definitely didn't know how to receive. I only knew how to really give, but I also grew up around people that didn't give that stuff to me, and
No, they took it away from you.
but I come from a traumatic background, so it was
Yeah.
like they just kept pulling from me and pulling from me to the point where I was drained, and I just didn't. They didn't show me how to do those things, but I
They
also,
didn't know.
you know, I, you know, well, I come from an abusive background, so that's a choice. But when you choose,
Yeah.
but I mean, I just think that, like, there has to be, like you said, a healthy balance, because when you give too much of yourself, there's like, you drain yourself and you're like, you kind of burn yourself out. And I've done that many times in my life, but I just kept, like, sometimes it's helpful and it's useful to get through things to help people and to keep pushing and going through. But then also at the same time, it's not healthy because you're not dealing with it. Like Austin just said, I feel like the trauma is there is trauma with having to have thick skin, which hinders people from getting help. What do you all think? I think that's absolutely true, because the generation, like my older grandmother's generation, like nobody was like, oh, I want to go to therapy. Oh, let me do this. It was all like, oh, you're crazy. We don't need therapy. Just get through it. You're fine. Rub dirt in it. That's the mentality we were talking about earlier, is that you weren't encouraged to go to therapy. You weren't encouraged to go take care of your mental health. You weren't encouraged for any of that because it was seen as, oh, you crazy, or at least that's what I was told. With I had anxiety, it's like, oh, you're crazy. There's something wrong with you. What's wrong with you? And I'm like, what?
Well, it's all the choice of words and the meaning of words. Mental. I don't like that word. I want a new word for that. Because for me it's associated of being crazy, which is not. We need to use more spectrum of mental illness. And like there's spectrum of autism and things like that. I feel. Yeah, it's just again we are still living in the meaning of words that were used in the 20th century. It's not 21st style. We need to give a new energy to certain words. A psychologist, therapist is it's negative. We have to shift that. It's not negative. Or we need to find, I have a coach in emotional intelligence now, which I love, and it's been the best 5 years of my life to have someone who doesn't judge me and giving me that amazing toolbox, to face life. Do I get angry? Do I get sad? Do I get scared? Yeah, but it doesn't last as long.
Right.
It's it goes I go to the toolbox, and even if right now I would say like you, it's not a super cool time. I feel a bit lost, but I have an amazing toolbox to keep me getting through this. So it's
It's good.
yeah,
I mean, look, yeah, I have an abundance of tools as well, and I utilize them, and some work, and some have faded kind of in how they work, and I've had to like be creative. But I've also gone back to therapy. I think that's important. I take the courses online, and I think that really, really, really helps. And I think everybody needs, a therapist in some form, or whatever they want to call it, or they want to use, or everybody has different names for, like, you have an emotional intelligence coach, so that's great. So, like, different areas, different arenas of
yeah.
balance. I think it's just having those things to go to and use and utilize that work for you. Like for me, sometimes like I can't focus, so it's like, okay, reading's not going to work, but maybe writing will work, and I'll find like, okay, the writing worked, the reading didn't work, because like if my focus is funky like that, like some things I can focus on and other things I can't. So sometimes I need to find a new tool, because that tool is just not working for me right now, because maybe I'm too emotionally high, and
Yeah.
I'm out of the box a little bit. And but I found that, I mean, it's a very interesting point that you made about that certain generations, you know we're not really taught healthy how to deal with things, and especially love and affection. And I don't think that's for everybody, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's everybody, because a lot of the times, I know people that had, well, look, here's the thing. I come where I had everything. I come for money. I had everything. If I wanted this, got it. You want this? Here's money.
Material.
Right. And so, like, I know a lot of the times you're saying, like, oh, like, um, people, there's, because I know we were talking about the spoiled generation. I never consider myself spoiled. I didn't act like that. There was a certain period of time when I was younger. I probably went through, like, if I don't get what I want, I was
When it was not the right word of spoil. We say yes to them for everything, not just material way, but we never say no to them, not to offend. More that type of things. We surround them with so much love that nothing is wrong in a way.
yeah, no, I
More
totally,
that.
get what you're saying. I understood it. There's a different way to word things, but it's basically all the same meaning. And I think everybody got that. But, like, people think, oh, you come from this, you come from that, so your life must have been fabulous. And it's like, no, I would have given all of that up to have the massive love and support, the big, hugging, wonderful family that I used to see in my friends. I would have traded that in a minute. And some people used to look at me like, you crazy. You had everything you wanted. You had money. You had big houses and cars. And I'm just like, and what the hell does that mean? That doesn't do anything for you, because those material things don't make you happy. They don't do anything for your mental health. They don't do anything physically for you. I'm like, it's just like, cool, I have all these things. That, yay. That
But again,
people that have all those things and have too much, they're friggin' miserable.
yeah, but again, it's physical and mental, you and material. And I know some people have a lot of money and they're great because they understand that they need to balance it. I Again, we need to relearn how to live in this century. We never did, and we didn't never did with the resources that we have. And I think that's the secret right now. And to be vulnerable without judgment, to be open mind. There's 7.8 billion of book of life, and we need to start reading others and just being open mind and not agree on everything and not forgetting ourselves and being connected. But it is a reality that we don't know, and that's what we need to learn right now, and being mindful of the words that we use and the impact they have. And yeah, that's
Absolutely.
life right now. That's life right now. Hey, maybe we should do another live for and go back to fashion another time, but really focus on.
Yeah, I know we kind
I like this is
of
a conversation between two friends tonight.
we bounced, but we talked about important things. We just bounced around when we were going to talk a little bit.
Yeah, but that would be great. Maybe later, just to revisit, as a model. And I had a lot of topic, and people wrote to me about how we could talk more about that. And but I think it was a good conversation that we have about the reality of how we feel right now as humans, and how you feel right now as a mentor and as a leader of a movement. Pretty harsh, and you hear stories all the time. Don't forget about that. You hear a lot of harsh things with what you do. It's hard to always carry all of this.
Yeah, it's a lot of energy to take in, and you're always going to have haters, even when you do work like this. And I have them. I
Oh,
whatever. But like Trishy77 wrote right here, it's an entitled generation. And I agree with that. It's a very entitled generation. I see it all the time all over social media. It's a very entitled generation society that we're living in right now.
mm-hmm.
Also, something important, saying no one, we're taught how to not do drugs and not call 911, but no one teaches people how to take like self-care mentally and call a hotline. Like that's not being taught enough, and it's really not. It's not being taught. It's never been for years and years. It's never been taught how to take care of yourself and mentally and self-care and do all those things. And it's something that I think we need to start like realizing and seeing changes in, because if we keep going on the way we're going, we're just going to keep seeing just all this sad and depressing stuff. But you know, mental health is a major health crisis. So, but no, I mean, I know we delved a little bit into the fashion industry, but I definitely want to talk about it more because I know that there's plenty more to say in there. We kind of just bounce back and forth with different subjects.
I'm good. I loved it. I was going, but I'm just thinking right now. Oh.
I kind of we touched on fashion, but we didn't really want to. But we'll definitely set up another one soon. Like, because once I get out of October, I have nothing really in November except for I have one set up. But like, we'll set up one for like the beginning of November, and we'll touch
Well,
what?
there's something you need to do before. You need to
Okay, yeah.
unplug. You need to unplug. I'm not doing that without you unplugging.
All right, yeah.
Enough.
I forgot that I have to unplug first, or I'll get in trouble for that. So after I unplug, we will set one up where we delve more into it. I know somebody just said to me, "Oh, we did talk about it a little bit, but we didn't talk about it as much as we wanted to." There's much more other areas in fashion that are like, like when you touch on even the LGBT community in fashion, people get judged, they get bullied for that. I've known people in fashion industry that do a little bit with it. Somebody's telling you, yeah,
Yeah. Well, just anything, just anything body image, you know?
yeah.
It's one of the worst bullying.
You see it all over now. There's a woman, what's her name? She talks about it a lot. Ashley Graham, I think I want to say.
Yeah. My
Like,
friend is a stylist.
yeah, she's beautiful and she takes pictures all the time, like just proud and showing off her. Like she doesn't care. She's like, yeah, I'm a big girl and I love myself. And it's like, I'm not perfect here, perfect there, perfect. I think that she's awesome. I love her because it's like, it's giving an example to younger people and other people to say like, yeah, don't be afraid to show yourself because you don't have a six pack, which look, I came from that. I was like six pack and I was always like big boned and tall and like muscularly built, but I didn't have any of the weight gain until the medicines and stuff, and there was a lot of shame that came with that for me, and also because of the fact that it came from my own bloodline that was like busting me about it, and I'm like, are you serious? Like I was sick. What was I supposed to do? Say don't give me medicine because it's going to put weight on me to try to save me? I was like, there was no cure for what I had, so it was steroids, and that's what steroids do. But it's like body image, and then depending who you surround yourself with, and people and haters on the social media, it's like I see what they say. There's somebody else that gets a lot of stuff, and she doesn't care. She still does it. She's working out. She's got her undies on and her shirt on that's short, and she's doing her stuff, and she gets tons of haters. They're like, "Oh, cover yourself up," or "You're not because you're not quote unquote the person that should be showing their body because you're overweight or you're not skinny or you're not 5 pounds or whatever the hell their issue is." And it's like, first of all, everybody's different. Tall, body.
Yeah, I think it's about. I had conversation like that with a friend of mine who gained weight, and I'm like, and I told her it's not about the size right now. She gained weight, but she was unhealthy. So she was swollen, which is different than gaining weight. And I said it doesn't matter the size, but you have to be healthy when you do it. It's because we want to keep you for a long time. It's always about that. But there's no sizes. The industry is changing, though. I would say that for the past 5 years, it's more, than we have ever seen.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be any Victoria's Secret fashion show anymore, which is a good thing because how much money went into that and child labor back in Asia, all of this. So I think the next time we talk about fashion, I want to talk about body image, like in the modeling area of stuff. I want to talk about bullying in factories, especially overseas, and even here, how people are intimidated to work more, and in head offices, how it's treated by the boys club. And I'm not saying guys are bad, not at all,
No,
but it has an impact, and it has an impact on women, because I was part of the boys one, and I was kind of proud of that. And I was raised mostly with guys, and I was used to be with boys, so I like to be part of the boys. But it's just now that I'm realizing that it had an impact on other women, and I was not empowering other women at certain time because I wanted to be part of the boys club. Uh, but I did not see the negative back then. And I think what would be great is to how to like cleanse everywhere, especially in head offices. And that's why what's the attitude we have when we are facing it. And right now, is I want to give tools when you face bullying. We cannot be silent anymore. Of course, there's situation you don't make it worse, but how to apply the zero tolerance policy for yourself in a very calm way, in a very healthy way. And I think it's going to be what I would love to share, because there's ways of saying things and say, hey, doesn't work like that. Want me to film you? Live Facebook, ciao, bye. I can't wait to have glasses with cameras. I would love to have that. Oh, I would just say, hey,
we're not
why it's always.
we're not going to be able to scratch our noses, right? Like with that, it's like everyone's just going to be on. It's going to be like, I'm telling you, and I said this as a joke on Twitter. When we watch the movie Demolition Man, we're really heading towards Demolition Man. If you
What Demolition Man? Oh, they say hi like that? But I know in French, what do they say? Because in French they say paix et joie. It's like peace and joy. Do they say that in English?
it's something like that. It's like boy, something, and it's like you're not allowed to touch anybody with anything. Everything is illegal. Every restaurant's Taco Bell. Every word you're not allowed to use like half the words that like you use in now. So like that movie, I was like, is anybody up for a reboot? Because I think we're totally heading. It had cameras everywhere all over the city. Like nobody, it was like insane, and I'm just like, yeah, but if you look at where we're headed in that direction. And,
Yeah.
no, but
Hey, everything is possible.
you never know. Maybe that movie was made for a reason before our time to warn us. But it wasn't horrible. And at the end of the movie, everything went to crap, and it went back to. But it was like before. It was literally based off of diseases and pandemics of the reason why
Yeah.
society became like that.
Yeah.
Like I can't take it.
I remember like Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes and Sandra Bullock.
That was a great movie, but yeah,
That was a great movie.
really funny because I used to love when Sandra Bullock used to get everything wrong because Sylvester Stallone was from like now, and he was like, and she's like, "You really licked his ass." He was like, kicked his ass.
That was awesome. Yeah, I remember.
It's so old, but it's like when I watch it, I always laugh because it's like she just cracked me up, and that's when she wasn't as big as she is now, but she just like her lines in that movie cracked me up because she was like so into the new generation and the new world. Like they call now that we're gonna have a new world. She was so into the new world, and he was from the old world, so like they just like did not mesh at all.
That was crazy, but I think he was from the 90s. I don't think it's even 2000. It's a while. It's not even 21st century.
No, but I think like the point of it was supposed to be that he was from where people hugged and touched and could curse.
Yeah.
Like in that it was like you go like this. If you curse, you get a ticket from the wall. Everything was like videotaped. They knew they were watching you everywhere. You couldn't touch. Being physical, somebody was a help. And he's like, "What are we doing?" And she's like,
We're gonna have sexual intercourse. And she put
"Like
the helmet. I remember now. Oh, okay.
what?"
That's hilarious.
Like,
Okay, I'm gonna have to go, babe. What time is that? It's 7:30.
this used to kick you off after an hour. They must have updated and now they don't. But it's actually
Oh,
actually
I know.
because it actually lets people go on a little bit longer without getting knocked off and having to start over. So
Yeah.
we covered a lot of awesome things. I'm so glad we got to do it. And
Yeah.
after my social media hiatus, we will reschedule to talk about the other thing.
Yes. Make it official. You post, hey, I'm out for a week. I love you. Not I'm out. I'm unplugging for a week. Just tell everybody I won't be available to mentor anybody. If you need anything, just reach, give a phone number for something else. But you do you because we need you.
Yes, I'm going to. I'm not gonna say I'm going to and then I won't. I've been told by
Yeah.
do it. And I did it for like a day, like a couple of days, and then I was just like, bloop, right back on. But,
No, it's more than that.
but no,
It's
I'm gonna do it. Don't worry, I will. I just have to get through October because I have bullying prevention signed up, and then I
yeah.
promise you, I'm gonna do it. Don't worry. Um, I'm gonna take I'll take a few days, which I probably was gonna plan on doing and need to do anyway. But yeah, we'll set it up once after I do that, and we'll delve more into that area. Miles, just to answer your question real quick, yes, Austin is gonna DM Myriam. Yes, Austin, she's amazing. DM her. Um, is it good to just say, "Are you okay?" to someone even if they seem happy because you never know? I always ask people how they are and if they're okay. I constantly
Yeah.
people can seem happy and they're not happy at all.
If you really want to know, I think what Austin is bringing it, say, how are you and are you okay? It's not the same. So if you really want an honest answer, say, hey, are you okay right now? You're going to have a more honest answer
Right.
that if you say, hey, how are you? How are you? It's more automatic to say, sure, I'm great.
You're checking in on somebody, and I make sure to always say to people, like, there is a difference on how I say it. Like, some people I'll just be like, how you doing? Or if I know that I feel that they're struggling or something's going on, I will say, are you okay? And that's never a bad thing to do because, like I said, the people that are the happiest and smile the most are sometimes the most sad, the most hurt, and struggling the most. So don't always assume that people are happy because on social media you see them smiling or cracking jokes. I could tell you from experience, when I was younger, I wore a mask constantly of laughing, joking, being the class clown, making everybody happy, being there for the universe, and I was falling apart and completely broken. So,
But we were taught to do that. We were taught to do that. We were.
right, you know,
Our parents were taught to do that, so they could not show us how to not do it. Like I was saying, you cannot give what you don't have.
right.
So that's what happened. So we know now, but we're gonna change that.
Yeah, I think it's a choice. I think, as an adult, we have a choice to continue generational stuff or to stop it. So I feel like if you're making the wrong choice, then you're hurting it.
Mm,
And in a way, you kind of know. Like, I don't give an excuse for abuse because when it comes to that, you're making a choice to do that. I don't
but if you don't have the tools,
controllable.
it, it's a deep, because our parents carry their parents' stuff and their grandparents' stuff. It's really deep. Anyway, it's another
No, I mean, I
conversation.
know it sometimes goes further, but I always feel as when you're an adult, you do have a choice to, like, not be like the other people. Like, I could have went that way. I didn't. I made a choice not to.
Hmm.
So I kind of feel like if you say somebody beats their kids, like, that's a choice. You're not.
Yeah.
I don't buy that whole, well, I'm not really doing it because I come from a bad childhood, so I feel like that's an excuse to beat my child. That's absolutely not an excuse to beat your child. So I think there's just different levels. Like you said, it's deep. Like, if it's something like not that big of a deal, or my parents just weren't lovable. Like, okay, maybe they didn't teach lovable, they weren't affectionate. That's a totally different thing. But when you get into like really serious things like abuse and domestic violence, that's a little bit more like, yeah, you can't, I'm not going to give you any generational excuses for that because you're making a choice. That's just how
And there's
I feel.
and there's and but I always think what happens, for you to make that choice. What happened for you to think it was okay? And like I say, if everybody is born good, I think society also has a role. So anyway, I think it's another conversation.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I always think about abusers and like, what happened? What happened to you? that you make that choice because something happens. I don't think they were born, hey, later in life, I'm going to beat the shit out of people.
No,
I don't think that has.
they
So
just
what happens? What it happened for you to? Anyway,
definitely always something that's in the back burner. I just don't believe in them using as an
and I
and they do.
no, I said this. No,
Right.
I get what you mean. That's for sure. It's a
Yeah.
choice when you decide. But I'm always saying, hey, what's leading up to that?
Yeah.
Something support is missing somewhere, and
There's
a lot of work still.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done in so many places. There's just a lot of work to do, and hopefully, we're getting somewhere.
But the small work that we're doing right now is as impactful. It's more impactful than we think. So we have to continue.
Absolutely. There's so many things that I try to do on different levels to take action. It's much more than conversation. It's awareness and helping others and working with other people. There's so much that we do, and like even if I'm just a small part of that tsunami wave, I'm happy. I don't have to be the tsunami wave. I want to, I just want to be part of it collectively to make the world a better place and help people. So, and with people that I have helping me, like you and so many of the other people I've connected with, and advocates and friends and just beautiful people, hopefully we can make more dents as time goes on. So,
We will.
I'm so glad I got to bring you on finally, and we will do it again soon.
Yeah.
Achi, thank you so
Bye, Bella.
much. And we will talk.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.